Welcome to another episode of Cancer Tamer. I'm your host, Dr. Charley Ferrer, and we're bringing in the new year, so it's 2020. I am so thrilled. We have such amazing things ready for you this year, and amazing guests and amazing opportunities, and a lot of events that we're planning for this year. Last year we had a wonderful time with the Breast Cancer Diaries. For those of you that attended or saw some of the documentaries that we did with individuals here on Staten Island as well as throughout the U.S. We had men and women for our documentary on Messages of Hope, and as well as our documentary on Faces of Breast Cancer. So for the new year, I actually have a wonderful guest. And I want to also mention to you, give a big shout out to Deborah, who is actually not here with us today. Deborah Santulli-Barone, our co-host, who is actually bringing in the new year with her mom, who is not feeling very well. And so she will be back next week with us. And today we have a special guest who's starting out the new year, Rebecca Pine, who is actually doing an amazing project called The Breast and the Sea. So welcome, Rebecca, to our show. And why don't you tell us a little bit about your program and your project?
Thank you, Dr. Charley, for having me here today. So The Breast and the Sea is an experience that anyone that's been personally touched by breast cancer, survivors, previvors, breast cancer patients, can come together for community workshops that we have at a private beach in Long Island, New York. Okay. And we've traveled before with the workshop and hope to again in the future. And as part of the experience, participants come and they take part in meditation and mindfulness involving nature, the community support, creative expression, and it actually involves really looking at the inner scars, what I call the inner scars of breast cancer.
And how long have you been doing this?
We started this project in 2013. I started it with photographer Miana Jun. She's the project co-collaborator. And it came up, I'm a 10-year survivor myself, and 4 years after my initial experience with breast cancer, I had a prophylactic mastectomy of my remaining breast. And right before that time, I decided to hire a photographer and do a portrait session, and just having a little more time to process the whole experience. Right. And it was incredibly healing for me, just surprisingly. I felt so seen and supported and safe.
So if I can ask, you said you hired a photographer to take a picture of your breast and your chest and you, and so I would imagine that's really radical because most people don't do that. So did you do like a before and after picture of yourself before your mastectomy and after your mastectomy?
Well, this was after my first mastectomy, so I had a single breast left. So I did that portrait session at that time. And then as we developed The Breast in the Sea, it ended up that there were many afters after that first experience. But I shared with Miana about my hope to share my story, to help make a positive impact, and to share the stories of others, to help make the experience just more not so difficult or challenging for others going through it.
And it also allows us to know that there's more than just me.
Yes.
That there's somebody else. So we're really not alone. We might feel isolated, but there's so many others that are feeling the same way. And when we come together, that's the beauty of it. That we can share that and kind of get rid of our scars or minimize their impact on our lives. I have a couple of more questions for you because I'm fascinated. Why pick the sea?
Well, the sea is a place that's been very therapeutic for me. So I spent a tremendous amount of time when I was newly diagnosed just at the beach, walking and being immersed in the water. And to me, no matter how upset I felt, no matter how just torn apart and how much I was grappling with all these questions and difficulties, I would always leave the sea experience feeling more peace, more at ease.
Right. And I know, if you follow Freudian or any kind of dream therapy and stuff like that, it always talks about the water being healing, being a way of showing emotion, of when you're feeling overwhelmed, which is funny because for the past 2 weeks, before we brought you on, all I've been doing is having dreams about the ocean.
Really?
And so it's either I'm on a boat, I'm on a raft, I'm helping somebody, I'm pulling somebody out, I'm in the water going, why am I still in the water? But it's been that piece of waking up in the morning going, wow, okay, there's emotions coming up and we're releasing some or embracing some. And I love that you do a lot of your photographs in the sea itself, and we have some photographs for you. I will warn that one of the photographs does show some frontal pictures of scars on the breast and stuff. We'll let you know when that photo comes up. It'll be our 6th photo, so if you're counting, it'll come up for those of you that are watching. Terry, can you bring some of those photos up for us? And so if you can tell us a little bit about the photos and what's going on. And so this is how you start, correct?
It's not the very beginning of the workshop, but before we go into the sea, we do show our scars. We do bare our scars because that's an important time of just accepting ourselves, feeling supported by the sea and the community environment there. And Miana does take gorgeous photos within the workshops here.
And then this photo is also, and I love the way that she's connecting, and I don't know if this is you.
That's me, yes.
Okay, I was thinking it was you. But it's that beautiful part of being able to connect with the sea, with the air, with self. And so I don't want to put words into your mouth, but as you're not only taking this photo, but making the experience, is there anything going through your mind or as you're thinking, releasing?
It's a very deep and very personal process, really, for each of our participants. And it's a very intimate time of being with the self and the sea and the community support all around. I think it changes lives. It's certainly been a life-changing experience for me going through this as a participant as well as facilitator. And it's really beautiful for me to see the way that it impacts others who come not necessarily knowing exactly what the day is going to be like, but seeing all of those things, the fears and the trepidations really melt away, and people willing to tackle things and make changes in their lives, long-lasting changes. It's wonderful.
Excellent. Can we see the next one? Yeah, I really like this.
Beautiful.
I really like these pictures. They're so beautiful and inspiring. And realizing that it's not just young women or older women, it's age all the way across.
Yes.
And how you connect, how you make that impact not only for yourself but inspire others, which is what I loved when I was going through all the pictures you had, and so these were some of my favorites. And then I like this too, where you come together in group and just hold each other and share that connection.
Yes, that's an important part of the process. Such an important part, as you know, feeling support from others that have been there through the same experiences.
Excellent. And so this was the one that we warned you about in case you felt uncomfortable, but I love the way that there are various scars that we have, and being able to show them, being able to express them. One of the thank you for showing those. One of the skits that we did in the Breast Cancer Diaries was being a zombie stripper. And so it was all about how I had so many issues when I had my surgery, and I had developed sweet syndrome, which is an autoimmune disorder, which my breast ended up rotting because my doctor had put surgical glue on my breast, and I'm allergic to all adhesives. And his thing was like, oh no, nobody's allergic to surgical glue. Well, guess who's allergic? And so my breast started to rot, and so they brought doctors from all over, the U.S., the Australia, New Zealand, Switzerland, all of them wanted to see what the scars would look like and how I was healing. And at one point I just got so upset when one more doctor decided he had to see my breast that I was like, nope, you want to see, you have to pay $5, give me $5. And his attending said, yep, you heard her, give her $5. So they started calling me the zombie stripper, because it's that part of, you get so tired of having to show your breasts to one doctor after another doctor after another doctor. But what I love about the breast in the sea is you're making that choice to expose your scars to get rid of the negativity surrounding them.
Yes,
So
exactly.
that's the beautiful thing that I see in that. You also are an activist for staying flat, going flat, the going flat movement. Can you explain that to me?
Sure. Well, when I was diagnosed in 2009, all of the images that were available were really clinical, from here to here, and it just wasn't very inspiring when trying to figure out what kind of surgery to have. And there were no photos available of young women who had chosen not to reconstruct. So that's a big part of why I felt it's important, and Miana feels it's important, to show this side of breast cancer, and not just this clinical part, but the whole empowered human being. And to me, going flat is a very viable choice. It's very healthy, easier to bounce back from the surgery.
And when you say going flat, that's where you're not doing reconstructive surgery.
Correct.
Or doing implants or doing some other type of surgery.
Yes.
To augment the breast in any way.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
That's right. So I have been much more public with showing my scars than I ever anticipated being,
Okay.
and the intimate parts of my story as well. And I do that personally because I know that that was what I desperately needed, and I feel that it's really shown me that it makes a big impact on others that contact me regularly and contact us regularly, saying, thank you, I don't feel so alone, I feel more normal. And
Right. And that's the piece that most people don't realize it, that there's such a big connection with women and their breasts. And we've had it since we were little.
Yes.
Whether, when we were prepubescent and we were flat-chested and we saw our cousins or somebody else had breasts. And so, I remember pushing my chest or my shirt just a little bit further out so that I could pretend to have breasts. And so, it came from a desire to have breasts, and then a desire not to have breasts when you had really large breasts, because then they would make fun of you. So there's always been this love-hate relationship that we've had with our breasts to begin with. And then when we're told, well, we're going to take them away, period, then being able to make a connection with that, or being able to release that, or as you decided, just deciding not to do any kind of reconstruction, and finding where we fit, what's the best for each individual, because
Yes.
it is an individual choice,
It
as
certainly
with
is.
everything else.
yes, absolutely. And there's a lot of pressure, I think, from society to reconstruct. And so I think it's been important to show that there is this option not to, and that
Right.
you don't have to look a certain way or be a certain age or anything like that, but that
Right.
there's benefits for all people of all ages and all backgrounds to choose not to reconstruct, or to reconstruct whatever
Right.
is best for them.
Right, and one of the shows that we did, we actually talked about mourning your breasts, and being
Yes.
able to mourn the fact that they're no longer there, or they're no longer there the way that they used to be. Before I had my surgery, I was very busty. I was, double D plus, and now I'm a B minus. So it's my little joke on it. But it was that piece that even now, 3 years later, I'm still adjusting to the fact that I don't have the same body image that I used to. I try to make a connection with, well, now I can wear shirts with buttons where I could never wear shirts with buttons before, or I hold myself slightly different, or our new thing is, well, I have to get a little bit skinnier so that this way I can show more, I can look top heavy once again. But it's that connection of, well, what is it for you? How do you bring that that connection with your breast for yourself. And each person is individual. And you have workshops.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your workshops?
Sure. Well, the Breast in the Sea, that's when we come together and support the women during that time, and the men as well, and all sexual orientations and whatnot. And we work with nature, with creative expression, with movement, and I do workshops also and run a support group once a month at a medical facility in New York, also involving creative expression and support, and mindfulness meditations I lead every session. I am a speaker, I do public speaking events, and also do some transformative programs online.
Awesome.
So for those that want to delve deeper.
Yeah, and we're trying to get you to come. We're doing, Cancer Tamer is hosting a Celebrate Life conference in June 12th and 13th on Staten Island. We call it Celebrate Life as opposed to just a breast cancer conference because we are celebrating life.
Yes.
And we tend to forget that when we're going through breast cancer in particular, but any kind of cancer or any kind of chronic illness, that we need to celebrate, not just focus on the disease. And so it's called Celebrate Life, Navigating Breast Cancer and Discovering Holistic Alternatives, because the whole focus of it will be all the different alternative modalities to healing that are out there, like Reiki, yoga, sound therapy, thermography, meditation, being able to be creative in our own way. And so I'd love to have you there to do something creative with us. And so that conference is going to be June 12th and 13th here on Staten Island at the Staten Island Museum in Snug Harbor. And the coolest thing about it, too, is that Senator Andrew Lanza has provided the mammography van, so we will have free mammographies for anyone who is interested on June 12th, that Friday. And it's a 2-day event, so be prepared to hang out with us. And before I forget, for those of you that think, well, I can't take a whole day off, do you know that in New York, there is a law that has been passed that your employer is supposed to provide you with 4 hours of paid leave so that you can get a mammography? So that's the amazing thing. So you could use 4 hours to be able to come to the conference and then take another 4 hours off work. To be able to come to the conference and enjoy and, of course, have your free mammography. So first come, first serve.
That's great.
So I'm really excited. It's going to be our first annual conference, and being able to bring all the different holistic providers together, and also have some providers and some sponsors from the community who are going to come and talk and share, and be able to just enjoy the grounds, because for those that don't know, the Staten Island Museum has the most beautiful feel to it. I mean, I walked in there and I just love the feeling of the old and the new and the lasting. And it was just a wonderful feeling that you get when you walk in there. So I just wanted to give that plug to the conference. So going back to some of the ways that you create community within. So it's not just in Staten Island or in Long Island, because right now you're in Long Island. Would you be willing to come to Staten Island and doing we can work together to try and set up an event here on Staten Island?
We're open to possibilities.
And we'll invite you to come, and we'll have some people there. So if you're interested in being able to work with Rebecca Pine and the Breast and the Sea program, send us an email at info@cancertamer.org and let us know that you're interested, and then we can set something up for the summer when it gets a little bit warmer. For those of you that did the polar experience, we're not going to do that this time.
Oh my!
We're not going to do that this time. Maybe for 2021 we can do something like that. So I want to know, what is when we work with individuals with breast cancer or any kind of chronic disease, there's always this great feeling of accomplishment or a blessing that we get. And so I know that you had talked about that once before. And so what is the greatest blessing that you get in doing this work and working with women and men?
Well, for me, it's really connecting on a deep level with others and seeing and being able to support others that are going through the experience and helping them to recognize that they are whole and complete as they are, and they're beautiful and strong. And you know how it is when we go through cancer, we feel we just want to bounce back and get back to wherever we felt we were before, but we're changed, we're different. And so it's really about honoring those differences and just moving forward in whatever way each individual can do that.
And I like the part of moving forward, because sometimes we get stuck and mired in the adversity, and that becomes our life and our reality. And one of the things that we do at Cancer Tamer is that we try to remind people that it's not just about surviving. Don't make your whole entire life being surviving. You don't have to be at war with your body. You need to start learning how to thrive. And for the first few months, we all go through that fear of, oh my God, I have cancer, I'm gonna die, and I think that fear comes more from feeling like we've left things undone. And there's, we're being taken away too soon, or we're not going to be there for our kids or our family or whoever. But, I love that song by Tim McGraw with, I can't remember what it's called now, but he talks about once he got the news of having cancer, not for him, but in the song, that he talked sweeter. He was better with the people around him. He went fishing more often, and he did all these little things that you always put off. And realizing that, part of the fear of dying is also the fear of leaving things undone. So why aren't you doing them now? Get them done now. If you want to write a book, do the book now. If you want to love sweeter, if you want to connect with somebody, if you want to forgive, if you want, then do those things now. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait till, well, I'll get to it next year, or, I've been meaning to get to that. Well, get to it, but set a date. And so being able to remember that you live your life now, not tomorrow.
Yes.
Because tomorrow may not come. And if it does, well, were you ready for it? Did you do what you wanted to do yesterday? And if not, do it today. But don't wait for tomorrow, because tomorrow is now.
Yes.
So, yeah. Is there anything else? We're almost to the end of our program. Is there anything else that you would like to share or impart to our viewers? And let them know, or any events that you have coming up that you might want to share, or if they were interested in, if you're still doing more photo shoots and stuff like that?
Sure. Well, we typically do those in the warmer months. And we do have the private beach access on Long Island, so that's really helpful to create that safe space there.
Right.
I do the monthly support group in Rye at a medical facility, so if anyone's near Rye, New York, that's available, and other things kind of come up, and if you check out our website, you'll see regular updates as far as those things.
Yeah, and so if you're wanting further information, we do have the video will be up on our website within the week. And so it'll be on our website, cancertamer.org, and you can go there. It's called The Breast and the Sea. And so look it up there. You can go to our list of shows, and it'll be available for you. Also, you will have her website and information that you can connect with either Rebecca or Miana Jun, who is the photographer who did all those beautiful photos. And so she can also provide you with information. And she's actually a photographer. She does weddings and different events as well.
Yes, she's very talented.
And I saw some of her other works, and those were just amazing. we want to thank you all for being with us, for coming. For those of you that are available June 16th, right, because we're on the 15th. So June 16th, we are also, before I forget, Cancer Tamer is donating 50 lymphedema pillows to the Breast Cancer Center here on Staten Island. And we are donating the pillows. So if you don't know what the breast cancer, the lymphedema pillows are, is we make them for women who have had breast cancer, who have gone through surgery, and men who have gone through surgery. And the pillows are basically, you put them underneath the arm where they took the lymph nodes out of, so you're not rubbing, and they help with decreasing the pain and keeping the discomfort away. You can also put them underneath your breasts to be able to support your breasts, or if you're driving, which is my favorite, putting it between your breasts and the seatbelt. Not that it's going to hinder you from being safe with the seatbelt, but because it's just sitting across your chest and your seatbelt over it, you don't get that pressure on your chest or that touch on your chest after your surgery. Because I know even 3 years later, I'm still very sensitive on certain things that touch. So we are donating these pillows. So if you are available, we will be 11:30 to about 12:30 at the Rumsey Breast Cancer Center on 1161 Victory Boulevard. That's right at the corner of Victory and Clove. Welcome to come in and talk to them about that, or contact us to get your pillow, or if you have an organization that needs the pillows, let us know. So thank you so much for coming, for being on our show, Rebecca. I really appreciate it. Those of you that are interested, again, go to our website, cancertamer.org, and thanks for watching. See you next time.